get to those shortly. All right, Scope, last night's game, you were calling it here at SEN.
Yeah.
Sharks 56, Sharks 58, defeat West Tigers 6. How do you surmise it?
A much-needed win for the Cronulla Sharks, much-needed confidence. You could tell the intent was there from the very first kickoff. They rolled them and had an attacking kick from their own 40 from West Tigers. They got into – it's a really good sign, a really good indication where teams are at both sides if you watch the first set of a game. Now, ideally, for the defensive team, obviously, if you can keep them within their 40, it's a really good set. If you can get over the 40, then obviously that favours Cronulla. But realistically, you want to try to keep them right in the middle. Like a 50 this is going to be a balanced attacking game, in my opinion, or it's going to be a balanced game. They got there quite easily on the fifth tackle, put up an attacking set. I think Alex Lobb caught it 5 metres out from his own line, and then it just felt like Cronulla Sharks just completely strangled them for 80 minutes. It was always coming. It looked evident, and like I said, it was a much-needed win for the Cronulla Sharks. They were on a slide. West Tigers were playing better than what their position on the ladder reflected, in my opinion. They scored a lot of points, or they scored some pretty entertaining tries against both the Roosters and the Melbourne Storm in the last couple of weeks. But what happens is when you continually lose games and you get close or you have good moments, eventually this blowout's going to happen because it's the nature of, losing confidence. You're losing faith in the game plan and all those. You start losing faith in your teammates, and that's how I saw the West Tigers version of last night's game.
So the West Tigers, as you said, have shown improvement. It's a long finish to the season now, isn't it?
Very long.
What would be the talk inside those four walls at the West Tigers on goals for the rest of the year, standards for the rest of the year, personal performances for the rest of the year now that, that they can't make the semis?
To be totally honest, it doesn't really matter. Like, once you're in this position, and I've been in this position before, everyone can say the right things, but even the leaders in the team, it just becomes numb. People zone out.
Right.
Because you're just looking for the finish line. You want to get there. It's like we talked about the Sydney Marathon before. You've got 10 kilometres to go in the Sydney Marathon. Everyone says you don't know you're in a marathon until you're the 30K mark, and then it smacks you in the face. They just want to get to the finish line. It's real. Look, they're probably going to have a couple of performances, in my opinion, with a really young team where they're going to surprise a few teams for whatever reason. It might just be the bounce of the ball in a certain game. Maybe a team turns up and doesn't give them the respect they deserve, and that's the only way I can see this young West Tigers team being able to get a result at the back end of the season, because it's just tough, mate. Like, you're 18, 19 weeks in, nearly 20 weeks into the season here. Everything that could have been said has been said. There's nothing more that you can improve on.
Yeah. And
it's not working, and it's frustrating. And then you start to question your teammates. Like I said, you start to question the front office. You start to question the coach. And then the hardest part is to just look within and go, well, what can I do a little bit better this week? And that's what they're going to have to do. But like I said, it's going to be really tough, and I can see results like this in the final. I'm looking at their draw to finish off their schedule. They've got the Bunnies twice. They've got the Warriors, Cowboys. They've got the Knights, Sea Eagles, and Eels. So it's not the worst
run.
No, it's not. There's some winnable games in there for them, and they'll probably, if you're Benji, you're highlighting a couple of those. And it starts with the Bunnies this week. With no Latrell Mitchell coming off against a loss against the Dolphins, a big performance, a big turnaround this week would really serve them well, obviously. So, mate, to be honest, there's really not much you can say. It's all about the individuals and figuring out what they can do just a little bit better to help out their team.
On the flip side, the Sharks end their 3-game losing streak, 10 tries. They maintain their spot in the top 4 as a result. And that for and against now has taken a nice little skyrocket after that.
Well, that's huge. That's the big part. So not only were teams watching the Cronulla Sharks, and a lot of teams in and around that 4, 5, 6 on the ladder would have been hoping, for whatever reason, they slipped up without Nico Hines.
Yeah.
And like I said, the West Tigers have been playing decent enough to, it wouldn't surprise if they were able to, cause
Shawnee and Joel were on here yesterday trying to convince each other that the line for the Tigers was doable.
Yeah, I didn't this week because they got me 2 weeks in a row. But yeah, it's really good. That gave them a boost of obviously 50 points, which shoots them right up to 125 plus differential, which is huge. Because if you look above them on 28 points, you've got the Penrith Panthers, who, again, you'd struggle to think that they're probably going to slip up. But if they do get a game, they've got 9 points ahead of the Penrith Panthers right now. So if they can manage to keep afloat, win games, and Panthers somehow drop a game, and then they're thereabouts with the Roosters, then they get themselves not only back in the running for top 4, but trying to get a home final, which will be crucial because that's one hump that they need to get over too.
Yeah. It was more impressive because they were obviously missing Nico Hines, their best player, and their best player on form this season, Sifa Talakai.
Yeah.
It's been huge for them.
Yep, Sifa Talakai has been really good.
One question I had for you. So the Sharks have spent big for next year on Adam Fanua-Blake. I watched last night. Okay, is that what Cronulla needed? Did they need to play one front rower? Because they have some guys on that side, and albeit it doesn't happen regularly. But Hemlin Uele, Royce Hunt, Tom Hazelton can have a big game, Adam Fanua-esque. Like last night, Royce Hunt was massive when he was on the field.
Really good.
Unstoppable almost. You go, could you have saved, say, 400 grand and just pushed Royce Hunt up towards that Adam Fanua-Blake level? Or is the signing of AFB a masterstroke by Coach Craig?
It is a huge signing. It is a huge signing. He's definitely going to improve the middles, despite them having a really good middle three and really good depth on the bench as well. The one thing that they've been missing, and this is why I had the Sharkies outside of the top 8 at the start of the season. I thought they were lacking creativity around the middle.
Yep.
Blake Brayley, he's got really good service. He's a pretty decent runner, really good defender, but he doesn't create much from 9. And they've never had a ball-playing lock, whether it be Cam McInnes, who's starting at the moment. Even before Dale Finucane got injured, he was another option. Jack Williams gets in there and playing. I think you need a player in this day and age. I don't want him doing it all the time because there have been cases there have been teams where they've got in the way at times. But you just got to have that little bit in the bow where you can play a little bit of footy and take some pressure off the halves for Cronulla Sharks, in particular Nico. Just add a little bit of variety through the middle. And I still think that's something that they're missing. And I'd be looking if you could find a player at a decent number to try help that out, then I think that's something Cronulla should be looking at at the back end of the season to add for 2025.
Like a Connor Watson-esque.
Yeah, Connor Watson he's awesome in the
ideal.
He's ideal. He's the perfect 14. Well, he's starting now at 13 and then playing hooker when Cheese goes off. So he's as good as it gets right now, and he is a point of difference for not only the Sydney Roosters but the New South Wales Blues. Like stay on that team, a guy who hasn't been getting, and I think he's capable, and I've said this for a couple of years, I think Egan Butcher's capable of being a really good 13 at other clubs. For whatever reason, it really, there's been a logjam with really talented middles and forwards at that club for a while, and he's been in and out of first grade. I think he did his ACL or he got injured through the middle part of the year, and he's been on the sideline since. But I think he's capable of being a starter at another club. He's a guy I'd be looking at if I needed some help through the middle because he's really talented, got really nice soft hands, good late offload. And I think for a team like Cronulla...
I wonder when he's signed to. Because he's not getting a chance, is he?
Well, he got. I believe he's injured now.
Oh, he's out injured.
I believe he's currently injured now. But
they've got a stack of middles.
Yeah, he was in and out, playing a bit of New South Wales Cup. Yeah, 2025. Brooksy's letting us know that he's sorted until 2025. Yeah, really quick.
All right, I'm going to give you a choose your own adventure. Would you rather keep it positive and hear from Craig Fitzgibbon, or go down to old Tiger Town and hear the woes of Benji Marshall?
I love depressors. Let's get Benji.
I just got to apologise to our fans. When you take the field, you got to choose the right attitude. And tonight they ran harder and tackled way harder than us, and it showed on the scoreboard.
Benji, I feel for him.
Yeah.
But what can, you try and get your team up, but that game just got away from them. Let's go to a caller scope, 1300 01 1170 to have a chat to Scope and or I this morning. We've got Anthony from Cronulla on the line. Morning, Anthony.
Morning, mate. How are you?
We're very well, thanks, Anthony. What do you got for us?
That's good. Oh, I just wanted to talk about, Benji getting on there and saying this, that and the other. 2 weeks ago when they were winning, he was playing those young fellas, and then for some reason, last week and this week, he's picked 2 old blokes who are on big money, and if anyone's watching that game last night, they'll see those 2 guys were way out of their depth and they should give the game away. That's how bad they were. You could see it in the middle and out wide. I think everyone knows who they are.
Would you want to let us know who they
are? 2 guys.
Which 2 is
Clemmer and Bateman.
Oh, Clemmer and Bateman.
David Clemmer and John Bateman, they should not be in that team. And you watch the replay of it again, terrible. Now, we'll see next week if Benji picks them again. If he picks them again, and I'm an old Tiger supporter, he should hang his head or give it up because he should not pick them.
Yeah,
there were young blokes back in there.
There weren't many good performances last night. I probably have to go back and watch specifically John Bateman and David Clemmers, but there really wasn't a West Tigers player that stood out last night, so that makes it hard as well.
Yeah, but they're the two leaders, and you've got one big bloke in the middle who's not having a crack. This is what's going to happen. All those young blokes fall apart, of course, and the Appy situation didn't help at all. Yeah, they were going to get done either which way, but having Appy off for 10 minutes, that was a disgrace, that decision.
They're having a shocker of a run, aren't they, with 10 in the bins?
14 times.
Well, they weren't a couple of weeks ago, they were going fine. He had a couple of young blokes in there having a crack. Bateman was just woeful. Oh, mate, and I don't like giving it the plays, but they were out of their depth, and he kept, I don't know. We'll see next week if he picks them again. That's all I've got to say. It was terrible.
It will be very interesting to see, Anthony. One thing I think all Tigers fans can look forward to is the form of Jerome Luai this season at club level, at origin level, has been outstanding. And there was a period of time where the Tigers had the ball on the Sharks line for, 10 tackles in a row, 15 tackles in a row. If you've got Jerome Luai there next year at that club, Anthony, I think you'll be in a much better position to convert on those opportunities.
No doubt. Let's hopefully he doesn't pick Mr. Clemmer and John Bateman next week. We'll see, because he needs to talk to his supporters about it. It was so glaring, especially one out wide when the Tigers kicked the ball down to the Sharks winger, and he just left Bateman like a dummy. It's ridiculous.